Welcome to Save As Ability, a podcast to educate and inform you about disability employment issues. My name is David Darkangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Practical solutions for HR managers. That's what we're talking about today. 5 common questions that HR professionals seem to have as I talk to them about getting people with disabilities employed with their organization. So that's the topic today here on Save As Ability. If you could help us continue to grow the channel, please like, comment, subscribe, share, and it helps us keep great content flowing for you. So let's get right into it. Today we're talking about questions that HR professionals often have about hiring people with disabilities. And I encounter these like all the time. And what I've done is tried to kind of group them and classify them into like a few larger areas, like these 5 larger areas that I find. So, I've tried to homogenize them a little bit because I have so many different variants of it. But what we're trying to do here is show that there's proven solutions to a lot of these questions that get brought up by these HR managers. Let's put it that way. So what we're trying to do is turn questions or what's viewed as a challenge into a solution or an opportunity, okay? Both to aid the company and the HR manager for what they're trying to do because they're looking for good employees, but then that also helps the people with disabilities as well. And then actually, really, both of those, when they're helped together, society and, all of the other things that we've talked about here are aided as well. So, all right, let's get right into it. The first one is really a challenging one, and there's several citations for this. There's a bunch of studies. The one we're looking at here came out of the Journal of Psychology, and it's actually the Journal of Business and Psychology, and it's a study that identified a common misconception that many HR professionals have, and that's like they have apprehensions about performance and productivity of hiring people with disabilities. And it's really rooted in a lack of understanding about disability and disability inclusion, because there's research and data that shows that individuals with disabilities, when they're matched with the right roles and accommodated appropriately, that really they can be some of your best people, best employees. And that the stat I have here from the Accenture report, which is called Getting Equal, Accenture, the big think tank, a big consulting group, did a report called Getting Equal. Their report found that businesses who actively hire people with disabilities achieve somewhere around 30% higher profit margins. I mean, so that's like, the business case is there. We're not just making this up. So, and I think that goes to the fact that oftentimes when you have to problem solve and provide these accommodations for people with disabilities, that process is actually a good thing for the organization, for the employer as well, many times when it's done well. So that's really the first thing. And we kind of can, put them at ease, put the HR managers at ease about their apprehensions. Number 2, and kind of related, is like a larger workforce readiness issue where a lot of HR managers have said that, well, do we have these employers? Are they ready? These people with disabilities, and are these candidates prepared for all of the things that we're going to ask them to do and everything? But data really shows otherwise. Again, much like the first one, we have programs such as those at, matter of disclosure here, I'm on the board of directors for National Industries for the Blind, but NIB, and particularly like our Insight program, 2 great programs there, really dispelled those myths. I mean, I've gone on tours of facilities all across America where people with blindness are doing some of the most intricate and challenging tasks for anybody, both people with and without disabilities, and they're sometimes doing it better than people without disabilities. So from sewing to assembling to, kitting and all kinds of things up and down that supply chain. And not only NIB, but Source America and all of their nonprofits. When I was commissioner, I've seen what's going on. Perkins School for the Blind does a great job with telemarketing and phone banking and things like that. So, organizations have shown that when you provide specific training, these candidates can not only compete, they can be some of your best employees. So again, another kind of myth busted for those HR managers. All right, number 3 concern that many HR managers have is, well, how flexible are these people with disabilities as employees that we're gonna bring on? How flexible are they? And this one, again, is a little bit of a misconception because there's 2 things. Traditionally, one of the main barriers to employment is actually getting to the job site. So now that there are so many jobs that have evolved that can be done remotely or hybrid or remote work is a real thing now. That barrier really right now, that flexibility that businesses are showing brings that barrier down so there's more opportunity access to opportunity and entry into the labor force for people with disabilities and employment for people with disabilities. So like that flexibility part of the work model there, like we've seen a lot of that ameliorated. It definitely is still there, but we've seen that ameliorated. And the data point that I have on it is companies that embrace flexible work models see around a 32% higher retention rate among employees with disabilities. That's a recent study by McKinsey back in 2023. So that's a data point there. So again, I think that people with disabilities have that flexibility so the HR managers can if they know that going in, can address it, and those flexible work environments for both the employee and the employer can lead to great productivity for your organization. All right, number 4. HR managers are concerned about, well, how do I continually source people with disabilities? Our churn rate is 18 months or 24 months or whatever it is for the particular industry or sector or organization. How do you get those talent pipelines so that they can happen all the time? And finding qualified candidates is difficult. I mean, just go ask any HR manager. They'll probably tell you that that's among their most difficult and challenging things that they have to do, not only for people with disabilities, but for people without disabilities, their whole labor force, really trying to find good talent. Well, the first question I ask them, the HR managers are, well, who's your contact at your local VR agency? Because there's VR agencies in every state. Who's your local Ability One agency or NIB agency, or you know what I mean? Like who are you contacting with the already established ecosystem of organizations that are trying to supply you these talent? That's kind of like the number one thing. There's other things though too, like do you have roles that are open to apprenticeships? Like, are they apprenticeshipable? Because there's grants for that. There's money for that. There's resources for that, state and federal. There's tax incentives for that. Like, there's all ways to solve for that in terms of getting your pipeline, your talent pipeline up and running so that it can be replicatable and people with disabilities can provide you a nice, steady stream of talent. Okay. All right. And number 5, the final one that we're covering here is manager training and support. This is one of the things that is kind of like the most pervasive, if you will, in the HR community is, they fear they'll like get it wrong. Like, what if I say the wrong thing? Particularly people that are HR managers who have not had a lot of experience either personally or professionally with people with disabilities. So there's a little bit of a fear of the unknown out there. They don't want to get it wrong. They don't want to say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing, or, because they're well-intentioned people, but they don't know what to do. So what I say to them is there are so many free plug and play resources out there, from Ask Jan and EarnWorks to, again, the things I mentioned before, your VR agencies, all of these things. There is so much out there to be able to get yourself educated and informed on the topic so that you can speak well. SHRM has great resources. I mean, there's so many things out there that you can avail yourself of that can help you get familiar with people with disabilities. And if not, call Archangel Communications. We can help you and get you on that path to providing access to opportunities. That's all we're asking here. Let's provide access to opportunities for people with disabilities. Can't have a disability without first having ability. They have ability that they want to put to work for you. They have real talent there. And as we've gone over here, sometimes they're going to be your best employees and they're going to lead to the best productivity you've seen. So these strategies can dramatically improve your success with disability hiring, with hiring in general, with your organization in general. So I hope this was helpful. We're trying our best for you. It's David D'Arcangelo, another episode of Say Visibility. I hope you have a great day. For more information about disability employment issues, please visit our website, disabilityemploymentsolutions.com. The Save As Ability podcast is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, our YouTube channel at Disability Policy Expert, or wherever you stream your podcasts. Subscribe, stream, rate, and review our shows. Your ratings and reviews help our show reach new audiences. Produced by Pod Pro Entertainment. Save As Ability lives within a network of podcasts located at podproentertainment.com. #TheNewRadio. Again, my name is David D'Arcangelo, and I'm your disability policy expert. Until next time, thank you. I hope you have a great day.